technology is always a solution in the crisis. So technology will be really handy. There are multiple areas in which this technology would be adopted. One area is in the conduction of admission tests. The other area where technology definitely will play a most important role is in the learning space.
For online education to really become mainstream and enroll millions of students rather than hundreds of thousands of students, we need to have online degrees that are accredited by the various agencies.
My message to all the students and the higher education stakeholders is we need to double our efforts in this time in order to sustain and keep our economy afloat.
In India, we have to look at technology and education 4.0 as actually providing education to the uneducated, people who are not getting quality education.
Education 3.0 was nothing but technology driven. This is now going to be a permanent feature and is now going to figure in all the teaching learning activities of times to come.
So good afternoon everyone, and thank you so much for joining us here today on eLearn Markets presents College Dunia Connect. My name is Khushi Vinwal, young leader at College Dunia Web Private Limited. College Dunia is India's largest student review platform and leading search engine for higher education in our country. As our speakers were also discussing before starting the webinar, the year gone by surely made us sit back and think one of the most important things in our lives. The realization of having adequate savings to survive in a time of crisis was one such thing. But however, many individuals still find it difficult to cope with the FOMO when it comes to their finances. Someone at the age of 50 may be found pondering whether he had invested adequately or not. Do our financial goals play greater role than the age you start investments? Can corporate professionals, salaried employees like us, can identify positive signs to know if they have missed the bus of investment? Whether our retirement goals 10 years away, or we are looking at an early retirement, all we need to have is a bird's eye view. And I believe all such doubts of ours will be addressed in this virtual conference today directly from the experts present with us. But before I jump into the discussion, I would like to take a few seconds to introduce the esteemed panelists who have taken out their valuable time to join us today. We have with us Mr. Amit Saroop, CEO InMac. Thank you so much, Amit sir, for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much to everybody at College Dunia for this opportunity. And I hope I am able to add some value to everybody's thought processes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. We have with us Mr. Milind Bhumaria, corporate trainer and consultant. Welcome, Milind sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Khushi, and thank you, Team College Dunia, for having me over here in company of Amit and Vinit. Looking forward to the discussion. Thank you so much.
And we have with us Mr. Vineet Patwari, co-founder eLearn Markets and StockEdge, because of whom this webinar is possible today. Thank you so much, Vineet sir, and welcome.
Thank you so much for having me here. It's an absolute pleasure talking to you and having been in the company of Amit and Milind. So looking forward for a wonderful discussion and hope we'll be able to add some value to the audience.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So before we start the panel discussion and I start the Q&A, I would like to request Mr. Vineet to sort of throw some light on stocks and equity, since most of our attendees today are youngsters and youth. So we have very less vision regarding what to do related to our finances. But at the same time, all of us are really, enthusiastic about retiring at an early age or becoming financially stable, achieving financial freedom. So it would be very helpful to have an expert's point of view. So Vineet sir, I would like to request you to please take over the stage for a few minutes and throw some light.
Sure. Thank you so much for that opportunity. I have shared a presentation to make things more structured. Is everyone able to see that?
Yes, sir. Yes, your screen is visible.
Yeah, which has a beginner's guide to the world of personal finance.
Yes.
All right, wonderful. So since I have that confirmation, I'll go ahead. So friends, what I would like to do in the next 10-15 minutes, which I've got, is to communicate a mindset, because I believe money or finances, personal finances, wealth creation is more about managing yourself as an individual, your psychology, right? Rather than managing, anything external. So let us try and understand what I'm talking about. I'll be quick on this, and then I'll also briefly introduce what we do and we are trying to do to, help people in this aspect. So moving to the first slide. We are all, I assume everyone is Indian here, and people from the Eastern cultures like India, China, and countries around, we have this taboo about money, right? We don't talk too much about money in family. We don't talk about investments too much, about retirement planning. And someone who thinks too much about money, he is considered money-minded. And that's a negative term, a connotation which is negative, right? This term, money can't buy happiness, this you will hear every time, right, from people around. If someone is thinking too much about money and wealth and investments from a very early age, I want to break this myth, right? If money can't buy happiness, right, you probably don't know where to shop. That's on the lighter note. But on a serious note, we believe happiness is everything, which is not the case. I personally believe money is more like a hygiene factor. You need to have it. You feel the real pain when you don't have it, right? There was a study by Malcolm Gladwell, he mentioned it in his book Outlier, that the biggest impediment in people in exploring their talent, how talented they are and doing something great in their life, is poverty. And that divides people from actually understanding what's their potential. So just to establish the fact that money is a crucial element in it's not the most crucial, but it is not least also. It's an extremely important matter and we need to manage it well. So why, when money can't buy happiness, what it can actually buy is freedom. There is this quotation from Morgan Housel which says, the ability to do what you want, when you want, with whom you want, for as long as you want, is priceless. And it's the highest dividend money pays. And that's exactly what, we'll discuss probably. That exactly is the concept of retiring early, having financial freedom as early as possible in your lifetime, so that you can explore your potentials and you are not limited to the 9-to-5 job which you pick up to create a income source. So this financial freedom is only possible if you have a mindset towards personal finance, managing your finances. So how to do that? I'll just move forward. Yeah. So when I say mindset, this is a popular concept which all of us need to understand. There is something which we don't understand, which limits our capability to think and create something wonderful in the world. The fixed mindset versus growth mindset. These seemingly harmless statements which we make actually depicts our mindset. So people say, I come from a business family and I know everything about money. Or on the other side, people say, no one in a family ever did business or invested. So I don't know anything about money. Both the statements are extreme and depicts a fixed mindset, which actually is a problem if you want to create wealth. On the contrary, a person with a growth mindset needs to say that the world is changing and I need to adapt myself to the changing world. Because the way money was managed, the investments were managed are changing. Every day, new asset classes are coming forward. If you feel that, I know only how to invest in gold and that's good enough. That's not good enough, right? You need to diversify your portfolio and invest in equity, mutual fund. And now you need to also understand what is cryptocurrency and what is NFT. Otherwise, you will become obsolete in some time as an investor. So my point is, you need to continuously grow. And why I am emphasizing on this is, what we say actually also impacts how we think and how we react and how we act. So friends, monitor your thought process. Are you a person with a fixed mindset, or you are a person with growth mindset? Please change yourself from a fixed mindset individual to growth mindset individual, where you say that I'm not only working for money and having a good lifestyle, I'm actually working to create a corpus where money will start working for me and generate more wealth for me, right? That's where you can sit back and see your money generating more money for you. So think about it and try from today itself to start changing your thought process towards a growth mindset. This one formula, I think, is the most crucial formula, most simplest formula which we learn in our school days. This is compound interest formula, right? And this, if you understand, more or less you understand personal finance. And here you need to understand that amount is equal to principal into 1 plus rate of interest to the power time, which means compounding can happen over a period of time, right? With a rate of interest. Everyone in this world is focusing on improving the rate of interest by learning investments, learning trading, selecting the best asset class, and so on. Friends, let me keep it very, very simple for you. Your life will be much simpler if you focus on T, which is the time period, right? If you stay invested for a long time, long period, that creates wealth for you. And that is in your hand. Whereas the rate of return which you generate is not entirely in your hands. So you should make efforts to improve your rate of returns over a period of time, but you should stay invested, because the time spent in the markets or staying invested is more important than actually timing the market, which means when to invest, when to get out. Idea is stay invested for a long time. But the problem with us youngsters is no one wants to get rich slowly. Everyone wants to get rich quickly. Tell me 4 months, something which can double. That's not how investments work. You need to get this straight into your mind. It works at times because of sheer luck, but that luck is like gambler's beginner's luck, and it will not last for long. The only thing which will last for long is you have to stay invested, and if you do that, you will create enormous wealth over a period of time and get that straight into your mind. Friends, one more thing about mindset, that making money is a very different skill set than preserving money or growing that money, right? For making money, you need to take risk, stick around, being optimistic. You can imagine an entrepreneur. He is risk taking, he is full of action, he is making money, or a very hardcore professional, or a employee who is very good. He'll have all these qualities which are on the left hand side. But if you want to save money and create wealth out of that, you need to be exact opposite of that. As the same individual, I am risk taking while making money, but I am risk averse when I have to save money, I have to invest money, right? I'm not saying that you take zero risk while investing money. You need to understand yourself as an individual, how much risk you can take. And you need to be very, very different here. So you need to be frugal, spend less, create a pool of savings and investment out of which you can continuously invest. So these are two different mindsets. People generally think that I need to just earn. They don't focus at least till the first 20-30 years of their life in investing. That's where they make the biggest mistake. The day you start earning, you need to have an alter ego, which is very, very good in investing. So here you are aggressive, here you are very, very passive, non-active. So create that split personality among yourself, inside yourself, making money and saving money. And that's how you can do it more effectively. I told you about mindset, so gave you certain points about personal finance and mindset, right? Quickly for people, we all focus on, when we say how do you make money, we all focus on the earned income. Earned income is basically our salary or our business income or our professional income. right? Where we spend our time, effort, energy, and we create income out of that. Friends, you need to know that earned income should be supplemented as early as possible with a portfolio income. Now, what is portfolio income? You save certain money out of your earned income or passive income. I'll tell you what is passive income, and channelize everything into creating a portfolio. This portfolio starts generating more returns for you, and that's how you create wealth. From earned income, you create a good lifestyle, you create a good regular source of money. That also you need to work on. But as an investor, you need to work on creating a portfolio income by keeping aside part of your earned income. Passive income quickly is by your talent. If you create some asset like a book and you get a regular royalty out of that without working too much again on that, is passive income, which is basically something like you bought a house, you put it on rent, you get a regular income, which is passive income. You don't have to work on it again and again. So create all the three modes of making money, right? That's how you create a bigger inflow of money, and from that the outflow should be as much as possible into portfolio income, which will then start creating compounding effect for you. And friends, as Einstein, people say that Einstein said this, that listen to me very, very carefully, that compounding is the eighth wonder of the world, right? And it's very beautiful if you understand that this, it works in your favor. If you don't understand this, it works exactly against you. Because when you invest, it works in your favor. When you take a loan, it starts working against you. So keep this in mind. So moving ahead, I'll just skip this. Yes. So this is, I wanted to talk more about the mindset because I had very, very limited time. Rather than going specifically into equity or stocks, we can take that in the question answers. But what we started doing, the mission with which we started doing, is to make people better investors and traders, right? And with that, we launched eLearn Markets, which now has around 1.5 million verified users or learners. And this is a marketplace of financial market training where we have 350 plus courses and micro modules, webinars. We have 200 plus experts who are training us. You will find experts who are regularly on media channels and very popular on social media, etc., also training with us. Then we launched another platform called Stockage, which is again for people to analyze markets. eLearn Markets is to learn about stock markets, about trading, investing, technical analysis, options trading, and so on and so forth. Whereas Stockage is a tool which we created because we thought that people don't have the tool which can teach them also. So Stockage is a tool for people to analyze markets, to make the right decision where to invest, how to invest. This tool has got all the information of 5,000 plus stocks which are listed in Indian stock markets, right? It has got a lot of scans and tools which can generate investment ideas and trading ideas for them. I would request all of you to download because majority of it is free. Only the advanced features are charged. And all of you can download eLearn Markets and Stockage on your mobile phone as mobile application, or can visit our website and try and understand financial markets and investing, and how to create a corpus for yourself for retirement. All of that is available over there for free. Just go and make good use of that. Just quickly, we, for everyone today who's listening in College Dunia, we created a course. We have a course called Stock Markets Made Easy. It's an amazing course to understand financial markets, right? And we are giving it free today. You need to use this coupon code ELM free, ELM, which is eLearn Markets, ELM free. And the link is just shared in the chat. So you can copy that link and use the code ELM free and apply that. So, and I would love to stay connected. Here are my handles on various social media channels. So thank you so much. I hope, this session adds some value to you. And now back to College Dunia team.
Thank you so much, sir. It was a very insightful presentation. And The thing which you mentioned about time is money is really something that we all, especially youngsters, need to understand. You very well said that we all want to make money, but we do not want to wait for it. We all want instant results.
True.
And yes. And also, I think it is a very great opportunity for all the attendees present here, as they are getting a free course on e-learn markets related with stocks. In fact, I will also check this course out. Thank you so much for sharing that. So moving further, since we heard the point of view from Mr. Vineet, but I would also like to take some opening remarks related to some crucial aspects of personal finance from my other esteemed panelists as well. So, Mr. Amit Sarup, sir, would you please like to share some insights from your side as well?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So, good afternoon, everybody. I think Vineet has captured the whole process of understanding your personal finance in a very comprehensive but a very simple manner, and which should give you good insights on how to start. I will just like to add a couple of points which I feel are critical to take care of as youngsters, which you have to sort of take in with your stride and implement it. So I think the first point is that for managing your personal finances, you need to have a sort of budget in place, which comes through an understanding of your whole expense situation vis-a-vis your earning situation. And there, most people first do their spends and then try and see whatever is left over, they will invest. Whereas the right way to go about it is to keep aside a good chunk of your earning, maybe 25 to 30%. First, invest that money and then manage your expenses in the rest of the money. That will take you a long way in building your wealth, rather than, taking a late start, because you will always have a feeling that we'll start investing once we have enough money. First, let us enjoy. But money is never enough. So you will keep spending and you lose 5, 10, 15 years before you start actual investing, which is exactly what Vineet said, that the power of compounding happens if you start early. I would say even before you start earning, in today's date, there's so much information and facility available, like eLearn, StockEdge, as well as many other portals, that youngsters, even if you are getting, birthday gifts as cash, try and use it for investing. Open an account and start investing. It will give you an early understanding of the investment space and take you, hold in good stead over the long term. The second point is that it's a learning process. You can't grasp everything overnight. So the idea is to get into the investing space as early as possible and without pressure, try and understand your options, which will help you invest in line with your capabilities and capacities to take risk and to increase the wealth, which is very crucial over long term to avoid any kind of wrong decisions which mismatch with your profile. So that's the second important I wanted to make, that understanding the investment space, it takes time. So it will take years for you to grasp. And like Vineet mentioned, there are new products, new avenues, new asset classes evolving all the time. So it's a continuous learning process. So enjoy that process, but get a basic understanding of the investment space. After that, you can get an expert advisor to manage your money or help you invest or guide you. But at least the basics should be understood by everybody, as that will guide you in which direction is comfortable for you to go. Thank you, Kushi. I thought those 2 points I wanted to mention.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Amit sir, for sharing such beautiful insights with us. It is really important for the youngsters to understand. I believe the same point came from Mr. Vineet sir as well, that it is a long-term process, and there is no right or wrong time to start investing. We should start investing whenever once you start investing, whenever they start making their own money, and should stay in the market and should wait over time. Good things take time, obviously. So coming to Mr. Milind, sir, I would request you as well to share some few aspects from your side as well related to personal finance. How do you perceive money in your own personal life?
Great. Thank you so much for putting up that question, Khushi. So, since we are addressing College Dunia, let me reflect back on my college days and pick up examples and things that I probably could have done differently then, which I did not do, to be honest. I admit that here. But something that I now realize after learning about finances, I realized that, okay, this is something I could have done in my, say, earlier days. So, quoting my college days example, what typically happens, I come from Ahmedabad and my graduation was in Pune. I'm a Symbiosis grad, and back then, of course, parents used to give us a fixed amount of money within which we had to manage the entire month. As I say this, I'm sure there are a lot of you thinking right now, okay, this is exactly the kind of life we are living right now. Yes, that's part and parcel of life. If you are away from your family, you are learning a lot of things. So this is one more thing I would advise you to learn right now. What do you do in the last week of the month? You've run out of your budget, you are running very low on cash, and you have to manage that last 1 week within that means. So what do? You are not able to afford to go out in a restaurant, or you are not able to afford to go out in a club. You are not even able to afford any sort of Swiggy or Zomato delivery. So what do you do then? You cook yourself. I would request you to force yourself one more such weekend. Yeah, maybe if you are able to manage, say, in the last week, if you are able to manage doing just a Saturday outing and not a Sunday outing, then I would request you that do it for both days, that is Saturday and Sunday. And how do you do that? So manage this one more Saturday by investing, as Amit has rightly put this up. First, invest. So put yourself under that pressure and invest in the first week of the month. Let the savings or investing happen first in the month, and then you start spending your money. So this is one example I would like to quote from my college life. That's something I could have done. And over a period of time, as I have grown in this profession, I've realized one thing. Investing is not about how much money you save. Investing is a habit. Either you have it or you don't have it. And of course, this is the time you should build this new habit. So all the best to all of you. That's how I look at money. That's the relation that you should have with money. Investing to create wealth, that's a habit that you have to develop. That good old small habit will take you a long way. Yeah, I put my case there. Yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Milind. It was very insightful, and to be honest, it was brutally honest as well. All of us face the situation of managing our just trying to get through that last week of the month. So yes, it was very true.
Yes, I would like to add here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
sure,
sorry,
sure.
I would
Please
like to add here that is something Amit had started on the note, that we are not comfortable talking about money. So even these situations,
True.
when we face these situations, we are feeling embarrassed about it, but there is nothing embarrassed to be felt about it. This is a life's reality. Some people will have more money, they are blessed, great. They are making fortune, great. But for someone who is coming from a middle class family, we don't have the means, let's accept it. Let's do the best we can. So let's be honest to ourselves, and you don't really have to compare yourself or say think about the world out there. You have to manage your own self and your finances. So I think it's good to be honest to yourself, and that's how things can start for you. Yeah, sorry to cut you short.
Very
there,
right.
please.
No, very right. So related to your point only, I would like to take up a follow-up question. Since all our panelists mentioned that there is no right or wrong time to start investing, but still I would like to ask this question. Milind sir very well mentioned that we should invest right in the beginning of the month and then make our remaining expenses, the needs, the wants. But for the college student as well, who are not earning, but still they want to invest. So what would be the right age for someone to start investing? And since sir mentioned that we should invest Amit sir mentioned that 25 to 30% of our earnings should go into investment. We have heard many thumb rules like the 50-30-20 rule, that 50% should go into our needs, 30% towards want, and the remaining rest 20% of our earning towards the investment. There are many thumb rules related to equity as well, that 100 minus your age should be the proportion, so you should be investing in your equity funds. So how does these thumb rules are relevant for the beginners? Do these make sense for them to take them as the very, a hard and fast rule and begin their journey with that? And till what time should we stick to these rules? So this is an open question. I would let's hear from Amit sir first, and then because I see Mr. Amit first on my screen, then we will take views from my other panelists as well.
Yeah, sure. So, like I mentioned, I don't think any age is too early to start investing. It's about having some cash flow to be able to invest. So, as soon as you are 18, I think you are old enough to start testing the waters. Like I mentioned, in fact, I can give you my son's example. On 18th birthday, he said, "Don't give me any other present. Just credit the amount into my bank account because I've got a mail from ICICI Bank that I have turned major and I want to start investing." And last 2 years, he's been doing that, investing, and he's tasting, well, fortunately during these times, the success also. But I believe, so he's learned a lot in these 2 years on how to invest, where to invest. So by the time he actually starts earning, he will, I think, have a pretty capable understanding of how to go about managing the investment piece. So I think there's no age which is too early. Secondly, as far as the proportions go, again, what Khushi, the standards that you mentioned have been there traditionally. But like we have been discussing, things are changing faster and faster. So there is no fixed proportion. It is more important that you understand the risks and the returns associated with the different asset classes decently well enough, and then to manage your allocations. And of course, so the risk-taking capability is a prime thing. You also have to see the other side of it as to what are the investments yielding. Are you even covering inflation or not? So you can have some corpus for safety purposes, but at times, so there's no, you should not have a biased opinion as to what is more risky or what is more safe. I mean, for example, equity is generally considered to be very risky vis-a-vis debt. But I think most experts would agree that in the crash in March 2020, at some point, equity had become safer than debt. So that comes with some kind of understanding and with good guidance from experts also. But yes, you should spread it around. But that can happen over a period of time. Start testing waters with any kind of proportion one feels fit, and one can then modulate it over a period of time. It doesn't have to be any strict 70-30-20 ratio which one has to follow at all times. You now have products which automatically do your balancing across different asset classes. So there's so much choice that the traditional thought process has to give way, and one has to think in new terms. So I don't know whether that answers the question you had in your mind.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Yes, it does.
but that's my opinion.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Amit Saru. Now I would like to take this question from Mr. Vineet Patwari. Sir, the same question to you as well. What do you think a young investor should keep in mind when he starts his investing journey, and the traditional rules that Sir also mentioned? Till what time in our investing journey one should stick to that rule, and how to go about it?
I agree to most of the part Amit said. I just add a couple of points there. I believe based on the child psychology, the age at which they are at the epitome of their learning capabilities is 14 to 16 years. I believe parents should instill this understanding of money from the age of 5 to 6 years, right? And I am trying to experiment that with my kids also. See, I tell you, you don't have to do much. You just tell them, you introduce the terminologies to them, right? Without even thinking whether they are understanding or not. Let me tell you, right, their capability of connecting the dots is much, much bigger than ours. As we grow, our learning capability actually gets deteriorated, right? So if you introduce the concept of money, I'll give you an example of my younger son who is 7 years old right now, right? He is collecting his money from wherever, as gifts, etc. He is getting that, and he is sure that he'll not touch that money for anything he wants to buy. So he keep pressurizing us to buy gifts for him, etc. because he'll not spend his money. He has set a target that I want to invest this much, and he is pressurizing me to open a bank account for him, right? So and see this with today's age, the kids are so smart with the exposure they have on internet, right? They understand. They are talking cryptocurrencies. Forget about bank accounts, right? When they watch cricket, all they see is the cryptocurrencies. They are saying, "Dad, I want to start with this." You have to tell them you're too young to do that, right? To understand the risk which is involved. But my limited point is, the earlier you start, better it is. And if you take it from Warren Buffett, he said that I started investing at the age of 11 and I feel that I was late. Okay. So that is point number one. The psychology of money should start building even at a younger age. That's number one. Number two, this also improves the risk-taking capability of the individual, right? You need to tell him that there will be drawdowns, there will be losses, right? And you should not start crying because your money from 20,000 became 10,000. And in real life also you lose money, and you should not start crying. The biggest problem, the fear which gets created is by parents. Even if someone, your kid loses 10 rupees or 20 rupees somewhere, he drops it by mistake and you start yelling at him, then you create a fear psychosis that money cannot be lost. So you create risk averseness in the kids, which actually push them away from anything which is wealth creating. So you need to understand this basic thought process when dealing with kids and when to start. In terms of thumb rules are basically, for people who can't delve deeper into the subject. If you can spare some time and delve deeper, no thumb rule applies to you. You need to have your own rule, right? The idea is, if you keep it very simple, the idea is your saving should be as much as possible, right? And if you want to take it to an extreme level, your expenditure should be as minimum. You should live a frugal lifestyle so that you can save as much as possible. So that's one extreme. And then you say that, let's spend some money right now, enjoy your life right now. But saving is an integral part. So you should first save and then see from the remaining, can you manage your expenditures? So this thought process has to come. But yes, saving is an integral part. Investing is an integral part from whenever you have money in your hand. And then the earned income concept, start earning as soon as possible. this is not an Indian culture. We want our kids to complete the graduation, post-graduation, and then think about money. That should not be the case. From graduation level, if they can do internships, they can do some freelancing, push them to do it. Right? And that's what I feel about when to start and how much to, invest where.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your views, Mr. Vineet. It was very, very thought-provoking and very relatable as well. In Indian families, we do not, even parents don't share the monthly expenses. They don't even discuss it in front of their children. So even if the children start knowing what all monthly expenses a household needs, how will they understand the value for money and the need for saving and investing? Now, coming to Mr. Milind Komaria, sir, I request you to please also share some insights from your side.
Sure. So, one thing I would like to take from Vineet, the second point that he mentioned. One thing I've understood the hard way is you become a better investor when you actually start investing. All the knowledge is out there. You might actually sign up for the courses, you understand equity, you learn research, great. See, I'm not saying these things don't matter. These things are very important. But you actually start taking investment seriously only after you start investing. So from your very first job, start investing maybe as low as 500, 1000 rupees. Over a period of time, you do this consistently for say 3-4 years, you suddenly have a kitty of say more than 50,000 rupees. And that is when you start seeing the results. And what would happen is when you actually see that amount that you've gathered in your say whatever investment account that you have, when you see that amount that you've gathered, okay, 1,000 rupees is just for an example. If you can save more, go ahead and save 5,000 rupees. By the end of year, you already have a investment in your investment account. You have 60,000 worth of investment. So start with that. That is how you can start developing the habit. All the proportions, ratios are there for your reference, but they should start mattering to you only after you've made that sizable kitty, in my opinion. Okay, so I'm saying this at the risk of differing slightly from Amit and Vineet over here. But see, going by how my career graph has been and a lot of friends that I've also heard from, in India, typically your career starts stabilizing when you start hitting your late 20s. And you actually start earning in your early 20s. So utilize this time when you are in your early 20s. Utilize this time with as low as say 500, 1,000, 5,000, whatever you can afford. Start creating that kitty. Once you start entering in your late 20s, early 30s, all these proportions come in picture. Start with it, and later on the proportions will start making sense as well. And of course, while you are at investing, don't forget to keep learning about all the things that we have been discussing over here as well. Yeah, back to you, Khushi.
Thank you so much, Mr. Milind. I should say it is a golden rule to start with small and then multiply, or as all of our panelists also said, that compounding is very magical thing. So even if you start small, over a period of time, we will be having enough savings or investments. So coming to the next question, we have a very little time left with us. I would like to direct this question to Mr. Amit Saroop. We all are talking about investments and equity. I would like to know from sir's point of view that how can someone build a passive income stream using equity only, a constant passive income stream?
Yeah, sure. So, in Indian markets, as they're evolving, till some time back, or let's say 15-20 years back, we had only direct equity as an option, which is a difficult asset class to manage on your own, because it needs very deep knowledge as well as time. But in today's date, you have a lot of products which are passive funds, which are managed by professionals. Index funds are there. and investors just have to make sure that the money is going into that. They do not have to monitor it. They do not have to really do anything. It is just that their regular investment should keep happening, and they will realize that over a period of time, the power of compounding takes over. And from a safety perspective, it's funds, ETFs, and index funds are diversified, wide-based, in line with whatever indices they are tracking. So over a period of time, the compounding factor also comes in and gives a pretty decent return, which is maybe just a little below which you may get from very actively managing your direct equity investments. So that's a good option for passive investing where there's no headache at all.
Okay, great. Adding to this question itself, since we all have heard about mutual funds from our parents, from our grandparents as well. This is a sort of a traditional investment pillar that we observe in our society. So, from Amit sir itself, I would like to know, how do you compare equity and mutual funds, and what should a beginner prefer? Starting investing in mutual funds, or one should begin his journey with equity?
See, these are two different terms what you're talking about. So equity is an asset class, and mutual fund is a vehicle. So they are not strictly comparable, but let me say, if you are comparing direct equity with equity mutual funds, then to some extent it is comparable. But in essence, what you are doing is that instead of putting in your own time and creating that knowledge base within yourself to manage direct equity, you are handing over that part of the work to a professional, and you are paying a fees to him to manage your money in the most efficient manner. So mutual funds are across various asset classes. You can combine various mutual funds to arrive at a diversified, stable portfolio, which will be, consistent as compared to investing purely in direct equity. Returns-wise, if you see, there's no comparison to taking your own calls into direct equity and over long period. But then it's a lot of, like I said, investment of time as well, and understanding and very regular tracking. Though now you have so many aids in the market, just like I think StockEdge also, which can help you do that much more efficiently, do all the research and be able to do it. So you must do direct equity as well. It not only provides you with basic learning, understanding, experience of the movements, but which will actually help you in your overall investing. So like I said, I mean, a part of your investments should go into direct equity, but till the time you are more and more confident, you can use mutual funds to create the same kind of investment. And of course, mutual funds are a very efficient investment vehicle. So it's the simplest and most efficient vehicle amongst all other vehicles available in India, especially for beginners. So it's a no-brainer to do both of them to whatever extent one can manage.
Great. Thank you so much, Mr. Amit. We have a question in our chat box from Ranna Ahuja. This is directed to Vineet sir itself. Ranma has asked to share some tips regarding the right stocks for long-term investment. Vineet sir, I request you to please take this question.
I don't know what she means by tips. I'm not naming stocks here. Okay, definitely. But I'll tell you what to look at, while identifying stocks for long term. I'll give you simple 2-3 things which you should look at. See, when you want a company to invest in, first thing you should understand is your circle of competence. That means what you understand, right? If you understand FMCG means fast moving consumer goods. If you understand FMCG, then you should try and understand companies which are operating in that space, like HUL, like ITC and so on, right? If you understand IT well, then you should try and understand what companies are involved in that. That means what you understand, see what companies are there in the listed space so that you can invest in them. Number 2, if you want to invest in long-term equity, right, always focus on cash flow positive, operating cash flow positive, consistently generating cash flow from their operations. So, let's look at startups. We all hear stories about startups. I'm not saying that investing in them is good or bad, but what I'm saying is, if you see, they bring in a lot of money from investors, right? And they spend money, but they don't make money through their operations. So focus on companies which are making money, cash flow from operations every year consistently. And then look at what is their growth in terms of sales, in terms of profits, year on year. So you will find very good large companies which has been consistently generating cash flow and consistently increasing their profits as well as their sales, right? And these companies are going to stay there for long term. These are easy picks. You need to just, I cannot say that just look at 2-3 things which I've told you, because you need to look at the management quality, their future predictions, what kind of product pipeline they have, and so on and so forth. But these are some of the red flags. If you don't have cash flow from operations on a regular basis, there is a problem. If you don't have consistently growing profits, or at least consistent profits, there is a problem. If you don't have consistent sales, there is a problem. Even if that reduces the universe of stocks in which you can invest to very few companies, that's okay for the starters. Later on, when you understand the complexities more, you can get into, areas where one of the criteria I'm mentioning is not met. It's okay, because you understand where you are investing in. So keep on expanding your circle of competence so that you can understand more companies, right? If I don't understand cryptocurrency, someone in the chat also asked, is cryptocurrency a good investment? It's an amazing investment if you understand the risk involved, if you understand the extreme amount of volatility which is involved in that, right? And you can play with that. But if you don't understand, you will wipe your entire capital in no time. The same goes with derivatives in equity market. So keep on increasing of your circle of competence, which is basically keep on learning to earn more. First learn and then earn. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Vineet. I hope this solves the doubt of our audience. We have talked about savings and investments till so far in this discussion. Now I would like to direct a question to Mr. Milind Komaria related with insurance policy. Whenever someone starts a new job, everybody asks them to invest in good health insurance, health coverage, and life coverage. But there are a lot of mis-selling related to when it comes to insurance policies. As a new investor, what are the precautions to keep in mind, and what should be done to ensure the financial protection?
Right. I'd like to share another example which I came across very recently. So, to emphasize the importance about insurance. And this came to me while I was watching a recently released movie starring Vidyut Jambal, that is Sanak. The reason I'm sharing this is because I'm certain there are a lot of young people out there who are pretty much quick to explore whatever new movies out there on the OTT platforms. And there was this one scene in the movie where Vidyut was looking at his investment statement, and there was roughly 25 lakhs in his investment kitty. but his wife was diagnosed with some sort of illness which needed a surgery, and he had to pay the hospital 70 lakh rupees. He was not able to manage that money, and he had to sell off his house to get this treatment done. The question I had on my mind when I saw that statement, which said he has 25 lakh rupees of investment kitty in his account, the question I had was, why doesn't he have an appropriate health insurance? And he had to sell off his house to get his wife treated. I'm sorry, there will be few harsh facts that I will have to share, because insurance is not the goody-goody picture that we can talk about when we are talking about investing. There are certain risks as well when investing is concerned. But when it comes to insurance, we have to think the other side of things as well. Illness, or say if I get a little more harsh, death. Okay, we don't exactly know when this is. And insurance is a means to prepare yourself against such untimely, unseen events. That is what insurance is about. You need to understand that insurance is a risk cover. It is not an investment tool. You have to keep your investments and insurance. So all these unforeseen events, which of course are risky, and if you don't have these insurance covers, what will happen is all the wealth that you have created, 25 lakhs suddenly wiped out of your investment kitty in the movie as it is shown. So insurance is the base for your investments. I mean, not even the base. When you actually want to say raise an apartment, when the engineers want to raise an apartment, they do not start from the ground floor. They actually dig in the ground so that the pillars have a strong foundation beneath the ground, and then they start with the say ground floor or the parking as well. That is what insurance is. You first need the base strong enough, and then you start creating your wealth. So insurance is a must. 4 insurance policies that would appeal everyone to have in place. Term life insurance. That's the only life insurance policy that you actually need. You don't need, say, traditional insurance policies which would have investment components as well. So term life insurance to cover, to have a good life cover, health insurance, vehicle insurance, and say home insurance. If you own a house property, then you should get that covered as well. And trust me, if you buy the right kind of insurance policies, these are not expensive. These are good on your wallet as well. These are not really expensive. So yeah, that's my bit I would like to share on insurance. Back to you, Khushi.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Milind. It was really helpful for all of us. In fact, I could mention these 4 insurance in the chat box as well. The term life insurance, health insurance, vehicle and home insurance.
Yes.
Now we have a question in our chat box. Let me just open it. Yes. So one of our viewers is asking, what do you think is the growth potential for gold? Should we buy gold directly or invest through SHB or mutual funds? I think this question should be taken up from Mr. Amit Saroop. Sir, would you please like to answer this question?
Yeah, sure. So as far as gold is concerned, I mean, it is again within all the asset classes, it is a sort of protective asset class where you can allocate some portion of your money, but it is not really a growth asset class. It may happen that we have seen gold go up in the last 3-4 years drastically, but that happens because of risks which are perceived around all the other asset classes. So people tend to run towards safety. Now, as far as investing in gold is concerned, I think sovereign gold bonds are a very good way to invest into gold. It depends on your ticket size also, how much you are looking at investing. But you have gold ETFs also, which are a very safe way of investing into gold. I would definitely prefer a financial instrument which is backed with gold rather than actually buying physical gold, which is difficult to manage and you really can't accumulate it well enough. So sovereign gold bonds are a good way, and if your ticket size is small, you can go for ETFs, gold ETFs or funds, mutual funds.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, sir. We have another question in our chat box, and I think we are almost, yes, in fact, we are over time. So this would be the last question we would be taking. The question is, when stock market is crashed, then how to sell the stocks, your shares at a reasonable price in the market? And because at that time, people are buying to hesitate the stocks as well. So how to cope up when the stock market crashes? I think Vineet sir would be the right person to answer this.
Actually, you know what happens is when the market crashes, it's a time to buy if you want to be a good investor, right? What happens is exactly the opposite of it happens because of the fear which captures everyone, and people feel that it will go further down from here, right? So it is a buying opportunity and not a selling opportunity. Anyways, if you want to sell, you have to incur losses if you have bought at a higher stage. See, there is no, if it is quoted at X price, you have to sell it at X price, right? You cannot sell it at X plus Y, right? The only thing which you can do is hold on to those stocks and wait for time to come up, right? And if you evaluate and if you feel, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you feel that that particular stock which you are holding doesn't have the growth potential, right? It is okay to exit it even at a loss, because then you can park that money into stocks which has a better growth potential or which you feel are undervalued to a large extent, right? So this realigning of your portfolio should happen, let's say, frequently, maybe once in a quarter or once in 6 months, based on the market conditions and the condition of the stocks where you have invested. That's why following the quarterly results, if you are a serious investor, you need to follow the quarterly performance of the company, which they declare every quarter in terms of their financial statements. So you need to track that, and based on that, you can understand what has been the growth possibilities of the company in future. But yes, 1 or 2 quarters here and there, good or bad, doesn't make too much of a difference if you are a long-term investor. But you need to see on a consistent basis, has there been a major change, like change in management, change in corporate governance of that company, which makes it less viable. So point is, if the market crashes, hold on to your horses, right? Stay invested if the companies are good. Don't panic and get out, right? That's what I will. Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Vineet. Since we are already a little ahead of time, I would request all my esteemed panelists, if they have any closing remarks or any message for all the youth who are connected here with us through this webinar, so that we can just take a quick round of closing remarks and thank our audience for joining us today. Mr. Amit Saroop, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, sure. So I think in the context of the whole discussion, one message which I would like to leave behind with the young audience is that definitely do invest into equity, but do not panic. It compounds over periods of time. Equity markets do not move in a linear progression. So you will have cracks coming on and off, but you have to stay with quality and keep investing and look at a long-term horizon. Do not look at exiting at every fall and every rise, as long as the stocks which you are holding are good. So be patient, be strong, and look at it after 15 years and you will be very happy.
Great.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Milind, few words from you as well. Please, sir.
Yeah. So I've talked about one simple thing today. Investing is a habit. So I wish all of you good luck to create this habit, start building this habit today itself. As I mentioned, you become a better investor when you actually invest money. All the learning is out there, but you will actually start learning about investing better when you become an investor. So don't worry about the quantum of money. Start with that small proportions. Let me share my own story. When I started with my, say, first investments, I started with an SIP of 1,000 rupees. For the first 2 to 3 months, I did realize, okay, 1,000 rupees less is what I have for spending in this month. But the next instance, after this third month went by, the next instance when I realized that I'm not able to utilize this 1,000 rupees because it is getting invested was about after 2.5, 3 years. That is what will happen to you as well. Once you start investing, for the first 2-3 months, you might realize the pain of not having that 500, 1,000 or 5,000 rupees at your disposal to spend. But once that gets in your system, you know that, okay, this is the only amount I have to manage my expenses with. It becomes a habit. So start building that habit. Good luck. And I will follow you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Now coming to Mr. Vineet Patwari. Sir, a few closing remarks from your side as well.
I feel extremely glad and proud of the fact that the next generation is proactive in terms of thinking about money. Every day I talk to people of age between, let's say, 18 to 25, and if I go back 10 years, I feel that the when I was in college and when, as Milind shared, the awareness about the whole personal financial management was not there. This was a thing of the future. We'll see when we earn money, and we never used to prepare ourselves of what to do when we actually have money in our hand. And we always had money in terms of the pocket money or whatever spending we were doing, and we were not very, very careful of either spending or saving or investing. And things are changing, and I am particularly very glad of the fact that things are changing. I congratulate the next generation for that. I would suggest few basic steps which people should do. Number one, they should start reading Economic Times newspaper every day. Most of you will not understand anything for first few months. That's also a pain which you have to take. But after, let's say, for a month or two, you will start making sense. You will start connecting the dots, and that's where your that passion for continuing this for lifelong will start. That's number one, learning. Number two, I shared a small course which we have built very, very scientifically to explain you the basic concepts. Do that. Number three, I strongly agree with Milind that you have to jump into the pool to learn swimming. You have to drive to learn driving. You cannot just theoretically do that. So open a Demat account. If you want to invest in crypto, go ahead and open an account in the exchange. But remember, you should never lose money. And in these places, you will actually lose money, right? And you should be aware of the fact that if I am setting aside 10,000 rupees to invest in cryptos, I can lose the entire 10,000 rupees or 20,000 or 50,000, whatever corpus you do that. If you have that capability to lose that money, only then get into the riskier asset classes like cryptos or derivatives for that matter, or investing into MCX, NCDX, which are purely derivative based exchanges. So remember that. In stocks also you can have drawdowns, means you invested 20,000 today and tomorrow it becomes 10,000. Possible, right? So with these risks in mind, you should start investing. Whatever you want to learn, one very good way of learning is call two professionals who are selling something with a clear mindset that you will only buy when you want to buy, or you will buy online, but they'll explain you everything, right? And the learning which you get from one, you can actually apply to the other in cross-questioning. That's a good way of learning free of cost, right? And at your age, probably you can do it sitting with your father. So my point is, number one, start reading newspaper, do a course. And number three, open Demat account, start extremely small and test the waters. And that's how you will start your learning journey, and you will enjoy that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vineet, and thank you very, very much to all our panelists as well. It was very insightful and very thought-provoking for all our audience. Although these are very small things like having patience, not panicking while you are investing in the stock market, or investing or starting your journey with small amounts, or just opening a demat account, or talking to people, discussing to people, and breaking the ice related with personal finances and investment. So, but as Mr. Milind also mentioned, it all starts when you actually start investing. The journey begins when you start investing. So for that, Mr. Vineet shared the course of the link in our chat box. I have just posted it once again. One can explore the courses available at eLearn Markets. There is a promotion code as well for the discount on this course. I would suggest all of our audience to please once go and check this out. And thank you so much for taking out your valuable time and answering all the questions. It was a very interactive session. In fact, some of the questions we were not able to answer because of the limited time we have. So hope to connect with you soon again in future. Thank you so much, everyone. We are closing this session now.
Thank you so much to entire team College Dunia and eLearn Markets for having me here. Thank you so much, Vineet and Amit. Thank you, Khushi.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you, Milind. Thank you, Khushi. It was a wonderful session. Thank you.